you see this?
Oh, yeah.
CEO of Nikola was found guilty of fraud over statements he made while CEO of the company. Nikola is going to be paying out $125 million to the SEC. That's their fine.
Nice.
I don't know how much.
Do they have $125 million?
That's a really good question, because normally when the SEC finds someone, it's an adorable amount of money compared to what they made on said fraud.
Right.
But in this case, I actually don't know if the company has had to shutter.
Hey, folks. Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. And today's episode is brought to you in part by Manscaped. You know what's up with that bush? That bush needs trimming. And if you don't know about it, you better hear about it. Manscaped are the best products for gardening that area. Taking care of that bush is important. And these products are so good, you're going to be showing pride in your new bush-free yard. It's a fact that you will have the best kept nutsack on the cul-de-sac. And if you don't think that's fucking written in this script, you are wrong. They wrote nutsack on the cul-de-sac because the people at Manscaped are big and bold, just like that bush. Save big and be the most hygienic version of yourself by using our discount code TIRE for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Dude, these scripts from Manscaped are hilarious. They love talking about bush, and they love talking about leveling up the full body grooming game. They sent us the Performance Package 4.0. It sounds like it's a part of a car. It sounds like you're getting extra horsepower, but it's not. It's the Lawnmower 4.0. It's the electric trimmer, and it's a bush's worst nightmare. It's designed to reduce grooming accidents and shave hair on loose skin thanks to a ceramic blade and advanced skin-safe technology. There's not a lot of trimmers out there designed for balls.
Correct.
I mean, most are designed for faces and adapted to balls. This one, other way around. You could use it on your face or your head or other parts of your body, but it's meant for your nuts. Basic landscaping science says when you trim the hedges, the tree stands taller. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. It also comes with the Weed Whacker. This fine-tuned nose and ear hair trimmer will make sure your nasty nose pubes are under control. Me being an Arab, the ears. It's the ears. They need work.
Dude, my nose is growing. After the last 5 years, I just hit 35, and it was like, what is all this stuff? I got bushes now.
I used to make fun of my grandpa for them shits coming out his ears, and now I hit 40. Turns out my boy was just like me.
No joke, when this box arrived, it had the new nose trimmer there. I was like, yes, I was excited.
I'm about that. I'm about that Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer. And the Performance Package purchase also comes with 2 free gifts: the Shed Travel Bag and the patented high-performance reduced chafing Manscaped Boxers. I put the boxers on. They are nice. They reduce chafing. They're made of a very soft, very high-performance material, and they've got a whole bunch of other products on their website to help maximize your confidence and grooming game, not to mention your lawn care metaphors. Get 20% off and free shipping with our code TIRE at manscaped.com. 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use our code TIRE. It's time you level up from the Amazon to the Amadong. Imagine getting paid to write this.
Love it.
With the ultimate bushwhacking tools from Manscaped. Man, hiring copywriters now at Manscaped. Got a gardening metaphor? Bring it on. Also brought to you in part today by ButcherBox. Thanksgiving is coming, baby. And here's something to think about. ButcherBox turkey. It's on, dude. Peace of mind with ButcherBox because they take the guesswork out of finding high-quality meat and seafood you can trust. I'm talking about grass-fed beef, free-range chicken, pork raised out of the crate, and wild-caught seafood, all humanely raised with no antibiotics or added hormones. Get what you want delivered right to your doorstep with free shipping in the continental U.S. and no surprise fees. There's so many box plan options from curated to customized, and change your plan whenever you want. There are exclusive member deals so you can save big on the cuts. Enjoy a range of high-quality cuts that are hard to come by at the grocery store at an amazing value. I get that butcher box, and then I've got meat for the month. It's my favorite thing to just, when I leave for work, I pull that meat out of the freezer, and then I know what vegetables to get. I could do the cast iron filet mignons in the pan. I can use the burger meat to make my famous ragu. It is fantastic, but it's all about Thanksgiving this month, and the main course for Thanksgiving can sometimes be a main source of stress. Not anymore. ButcherBox is offering our listeners free turkey with their first order. So sign up today at butcherbox.com/tire and use code TIRE to get one 10 to 14 pound turkey free in your first box. That's butcherbox.com/tire and use code TIRE to get a 10 to 14 pound turkey free in your first box. All right, folks, it is a crew show today. Zack gives us his review of the Ferrari 296 Spider. We talk about the Alpina B8 that I drove in Germany and can now have the video released for. We talk about some updates to my old Italian cars. We give an update on the Elantra N noise violation story. And, of course, we answer your questions, including how much to offer your neighbor or brother-in-law or somebody for a 1974 Porsche 911 freshly restored, and other things. It's a cruise show on today's Smoking Tire Podcast. And don't forget, the best way to get the Smoking Tire Podcast is through Patreon. Patreon.com/The Smoking Tire Podcast. You can listen to the live stream as it's recorded. You can ask your questions to me and Zack for the crew shows and for our guests. You can get an advertising-free listening experience, both in audio and video. You can get the shows the day they're recorded rather than waiting for Tuesday to Thursday. And you can get an extra podcast every month, 9 shows a month at our top tier Patreon level. Get it all at patreon.com/The Smoking Tire Podcast. Welcome back to the program. How about Selika last week?
That was great.
She rules, right?
Yeah, she was a really good show.
Really interesting. I don't know if the SEO will be there because it's someone that people largely haven't heard of, but if you are tuning into this show because it's the old familiar me and Zack, there's a saying in podcasting, famous or familiar. If they have to be one of the two, the audience doesn't like to meet new people they've never heard of, but if you're going to go listen to a show with someone you've never heard of, Selika Talbot from our last show was a very interesting chat.
That show is the one right before this on the list. Like literally if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple, whatever, it is the show that aired one before this.
Yeah. Very, very interesting 90 minutes of radio, that.
I mean, so to give some context, like she runs an autonomous vehicle and EV technology consultancy group.
Yes.
But she also ran the Department of Transportation for New Jersey.
Yes.
Right?
And she was also a lawyer, a corporate liability lawyer that defended Toyota in the floor mats lawsuit, class action, and Ford in the rollover lawsuits. So she was like on the court. So she's been on the corporate side, she's been on the government side, and she's now on the public advocacy side. So like the three pillars of the world: corporate, public, and the government. She's been on every team. And
she, despite her time on the corporate side, the discussions we had on the show, she was definitely not like, yes, corporations can solve all these problems.
Yeah, she did not come away from her time with corporations being massively pro-corporation.
Yeah. Really worth a listen.
Yeah, very, very interesting. I really enjoyed that 90 minutes of radio, and I'm glad of all the people that I met in Germany that it was her that I was able to get in the studio. There were other interesting people for sure, but she was the most interesting, I think. Zack went to Italy last week and drove the Ferrari 296. He came back like 20 minutes before the
That's right.
Before the Selika Talbot show. 296 Spider.
Correct.
The GTB just got to LA, so like I'm supposed to be booking the GTB for us in the next like month. But Zack got to go on the launch. So how did it go?
I mean, the car is amazing. Like it's funny because it really shoots the SF90 like in the foot. Because it has a lot of the same tech. just fewer cylinders, and it's rear-wheel drive only instead of front-wheel drive. So SF90, is like hybrid system, super 1,000 horsepower, 500 grand to start, whatever. Now this
SF90 values are in the toilet.
Yeah.
Nobody wants them.
Yeah.
People bought them thinking they could flip them. They got an allocation, tried to flip them for 100 grand, 200 grand more than they paid, and nobody wants them. And now they've fallen off.
Well, we drove that car, was it last year? Which was like peak car value,
Right.
0% interest on everything. So if you bought one last year and didn't get out of it immediately, like the whole market fell apart on everything. And that car, I didn't come away with it feeling like it was really special. It was a good execution of technology.
Yeah.
And I think that trickled down to this car really well because
and the result was like one of the most boring 1,000 horsepower cars of all time. In the SF90.
It's just very, very fast. And
yeah,
it
but
puts it
like
together
on
really
the
well.
road, you're not. It's no faster than a 488 on the road. You can't think faster than that.
Yeah.
The road is and maybe in a lap time it's probably a little quicker, but like on the street you can only go so fast, and there's fundamentally no difference between 700 and 1,000 horsepower when it comes to a road car.
And I think a problem Ferrari will have, and other companies that do a lot of part sharing, is when you have a lot of the same controls on the Roma and the and the 296 and the SF90, all those capacitive things and haptic buttons, like the interiors are starting to look more and more similar. So if someone's at the dealership and they're like, well, this is $700,000, and yes, it has 1,000 horsepower, but this 296 has 830 horsepower and the same interior and has a similar kind of curvaceous shape to it. It's
one
half
of the
the price.
toughest things about SF90 is unless it's parked literally next to an F8, when you look at it, you go, is that an F8 or an SF90? Like it is not immediately obvious that you bought the crazy, crazy expensive one. It doesn't have, there are subtle differences, and a real connoisseur of the brand can see them. But to the average Joe on the street, it's not instantly obvious that what you bought is twice the price of the other one.
Yeah. Especially the difference is the front of the cars, to me, is what stands out the most.
Right.
But unless you see, that head-on, that shot.
So there, right here, So there's the SF90.
And then, the F8 still has the kind of...
is that one side by side?
This is one side by side drag racing.
I think
I can make that. It is, but that's okay.
It's
a rendering, but...
even so, even though it's a rendering, you still get the point. It's not enormously different unless you know what to look for.
And then if you do the profile shot, the air intakes and the large humps, right? It's even less from the profile. Like you said, if you're a connoisseur, you can tell. But if you had two red ones parked side by side, it would be like, oh, what's the difference for the common person? So I think
depending on what color they're painted, it could look even less different.
Ours was white, which is bad color for most cars. It's not just an SF90 problem. And then the 296 that I drove was it was the Fiorano pack, so it was red but with this blue. Yeah. And even the profile, which is kind of familiar of SF90, the profile, it just looks so much better with color. Yeah. Some cars need color to show off the curves. That's the whole point of having the curves, but the white flattens everything out, especially in the daytime.
So this is a V6.
Correct. Twin turbo V6
with a hybrid system.
Hybrid system. The hybrid system is kind of like that Vonnen car we drove. The hybrid is between the engine and the transmission, transaxle. So it's rear-wheel drive only. There's no all-wheel drive
mode. No silent EV driving.
It does have EV driving.
Oh, it does.
It's got. It'll do 25 kilometers up to about 80 miles per hour, which I did on the highway, and I was really impressed with the high-speed driving in EV mode. The range goes down so fast. I'm sure that if it's EPA certified to 25 kilometers, it will do that at some speed, but obviously on highway speeds, it goes down so quickly. Right. And then you have to put it into superpower mode, qualify mode, and then it charges back up really quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But it's so cool to drive around a town with the engine off. I drove past people that were literally having lunch on the sidewalk, and instead of me being all show-offy and rah, 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 I just
see, that's cool
past.
For you, but other people
want to hear the car.
Well, they want to show off. That's why they've bought the car. The idea that they would buy a red Ferrari to not show off somehow is kind of ridiculous.
True. I mean, EV mode doesn't make the car invisible, so like it's still a red Ferrari, and I got a lot of eyeballs and a lot of thumbs up and stuff. But I liked having that ability to like chill out, either on the highway or in town.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
like
it's good
kind of
for
bring
like
the heart rate
it's
down.
good for like you go to the early morning cars and coffee, pulling out of the house. You know, without waking the kids or waking the wife or the dogs or whatever. You don't have that, "Rawr," you know.
Yeah.
You could pull away from the house in electric and then fire it up down the road.
It default starts in hybrid mode, so it'll do exactly that. You'll leave your driveway in
So you
EV.
could power it on and it won't immediately fire up. And you could
100%.
just click it to EV, full EV, so you know the engine won't come on
Correct.
until you get away from the house. That's nice.
Yeah, I mean, when I started it to drive away from the lunch spot, it was staying in EV mode just because I was giving it so little throttle. Unless I you dip into it a certain amount and you watch that power gauge go up, and then it goes, okay, you want more speed than I can provide in EV mode, so now I will fire the engine.
It's kind of weird if you really cold start it though, because it might just fire the engine and just start revving, you know, without really warming it up, circulating the fluids at all or anything like that, right?
Good point. I never tested if you like were driving
it's
EV
got an
and
electric
floored
oil
it.
pump because of that.
It doesn't. It's mechanical still.
Huh.
Yeah, which I was kind of surprised about. And this isn't a thing that only Ferrari's doing, but I just noticed because they were very proud of like their new variable pressure oil pump that I didn't understand because I'm not an engineer. But noticing how many other systems on cars these days are electrical powered, I'm kind of surprised they don't have electric oil pump, because it seems like you could have almost a built-in pre-oiler system.
Yeah.
If you turn the battery on, it starts like pumping the oil around.
Yeah.
And then you turn the engine on, and they're separate systems. Maybe there's a reason that doesn't exist.
That just seems
if
weird.
you're a
that
commenter,
there's
let us know. But
yeah, that like if you pull it, it's cold in the morning, you get in it hybrid mode, you pull it away and it pull away from your house, you pull away in electric, but the engine doesn't come on until it's like needed.
Right.
So, but it doesn't come on and like warm up it doesn't circulate oil for even 10 seconds before becoming effective. It just fires and then goes.
It fired, and it hangs at a certain RPM of like $4,000 for, I think, about 3 seconds.
That's $4,000?
I don't know what it was, but it turns on and it basically hits an RPM and it stays there. And then it goes back down and like joins your throttle foot.
Oh, okay. So maybe it does do
circulate.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe there's a red line limiter.
I'm sure
until
there
there's
is.
it's a certain temperature. Yeah.
Yeah, there must be.
Probably.
Okay. All right. So how does it drive?
It's amazing. Like they have so many new systems on this thing, like so many new upgraded traction control systems. So what impressed me most is I was going over a bump at like full throttle in second, which goes to whatever miles per hour, far above speed limit. And the bump was at an angle, so the wheels were coming off over the bump, left, right, and full throttle over that bump, and the car didn't twist, didn't step sideways, didn't do anything. Like it just managed the whole moment and then just kept going forward, because they've upgraded like the side slip control and the wheel sensors, and the ABS system now is all brake by wire, which is a big jump for them. But the fact that you have that much power dealing with such an uneven surface, and it's just like, just keeps going forward, and it's rear-wheel drive only.
Yeah.
Like I would expect that from a 911 turbo or something like that, but it just fucking goes. Steering is what you expect from Ferrari, like light, quick, not too light, and more communicative than I expected. Like I could feel a lot of the road through the wheel, which I was really happy about. The brake is that same kind of idea that the NSX had, where the pedal will always feel the same, but it will determine how much pressure you need to give, which I haven't tried on a track, so I'm not sure if like I trust that or don't trust it. And what that allowed them to do is it has a built-in trail braking system. So if you're going, on a track flat out, braking in a straight line, and if you start adding steering angle, it will pull off brake pressure. So it trail brakes for you.
I don't know if I like that.
Right, and I don't know what that would mean if I was also trail braking.
Yeah.
So that's like, there's a couple of those question marks that I didn't get to answer because I just didn't drive it on a track.
Yeah, it might be like the auto rev matching system where it doesn't matter what you do with the blip, it just does it.
Maybe.
Once you engage that system, it's there. No matter what you do underneath it, it's just still doing its thing.
I mean, I watched Henry Catchpole's review of the GTB, and he drove it on the track, and he didn't mention like, oh, this braking system's being strange. It just shortens the braking distance, but I think he only got a few laps in it. Like it would be interesting to talk to someone that really laps the thing and see how that all works out. And it's so adjustable with like the Manatino and CT off and full off. Like, does that change how much the braking system is doing for you? Is that adjustable too? I don't know, because these cars have so much adjustability between the traction systems and everything else these days. Like, but they add more safety net, but how that interacts with us and how our brain works with the computer brain, like, can sometimes be a little disjointed. I don't know.
How does, I mean, you remember the MC20 Maserati? Which was 600 horsepower and change. And it felt real fast on the street. Not great on the track, but on the street, it felt like a crazy amount of car. And it says 200 more horsepower than that. Does it feel like 30% more powerful, or does it just also like, this is just batshit fast? Doesn't.
I mean, it feels batshit. I didn't explore third, fourth gear. I feel like that comes into play when you're really in third and fourth, because this makes 165 horsepower from the electric motor.
That's a lot.
It's a ton. And it's 663 from the gas motor, which is, like you said, that's already a lot.
So is it the same gas motor as the MC20?
Of course not. Well, we've had this discussion with the MC20. Like, neither company will admit or confirm or deny. They're like, no, these are separate, but they have the same displacement, the same firing order. I believe they have the same, like, I think Bosie did an article, like, looking at different brackets and bolt patterns, and it seems like Ferrari may have built this engine for Maserati or shared architecture, but, you know, the press line or the party line is like, no, they're different, even though they're very, very similar.
How much was the one you drove? 400? Starts
at 3. I think this was like 4, because this had $25,000 Fiorano package, which so that has, the normal car comes with MagRide, which is amazing, but this one was like the hardcore track package, which had Multimatic DSSVs. But on the road, like,
you don't want
too bumpy.
Those.
You do not. You don't. Even, and like, if you are listening to this and you're going to buy one of these, unless you are going to take it to the track, and even if you're going to canyon it, it's too stiff. A lot at the track. You should go with the MagRide, because my ride was bumpy.
Did you drive a regular one too?
No. I only had 4 hours with the car, so so I got the regular one.
All the way to Italy for 4 hours with the car.
I mean, I like Italy, so it was still nice, but it was 4. When you look at the travel to driving ratio, I think it was 24 hours of total travel time. For flying.
That's these European launches. Like, I went to Portugal for 7 laps around a track in a Lamborghini once. Like, it was just like, it seems glamorous, but it's really just a lot of airports.
It's funny depending on how they design the day.
If you tell people what you did, they go, wow, that's fucking glamorous. But if you actually live those hours of your life, it's like 75% airport, 20% hotel and 5% car. It's like so crazy.
It's really true. I mean, this thing is like, it's really hard.
Does
because
it sound good? Sound the MC20 kind of?
Yeah, it sounds like that. They want to call it the Piccolo V12. Like, they're like, well, the harmonics are similar. It doesn't sound like a V12. It's way quieter, which is good, because we've discussed, V6s, if they're loud, like, they usually sound bad. It's hard to make a good sounding V6. So this one's kind of muted. It's high strung. It sounds better than a 350Z or something.
For sure.
But it makes awesome turbo sounds. It makes like blow off, like you put that window down behind you.
The MC20 did too. The MC20 made cool turbo noises as well.
It is rad. Like, that shit's really fun. So it has a lot of cool sounds happening. Kind of like the SF90. Like, there's a little space sound. There's a little boost blow off valve sound that's like, almost Nopi international, like Nopi Nationals, and then you have a little bit of exhaust note that's like, in my opinion, kind of ho hum. But it's fucking fast, and the steering's good. Mine had the track carbon seats, which I don't recommend. After 4 hours, like, I was getting like those pressure spots.
Yeah, they're not great.
They're not very comfortable. Just get the regular comfort seats.
Forget which Ferrari I drove that had those, but I didn't like them.
The Portofino I drove had like the comfort ones. And they were good. They're almost like if you put a skin over Porsche's seats, where Porsche, all the all the cushions are separated, and the Ferrari ones, it's like it looks like one big leather cushion, but you can move and adjust things within them.
Yeah.
Get those seats. Like the weight savings.
There's like 3 different
aren't worth
seats.
it.
There's like a base, a middle, and then the carbon ones.
Get
and
the
you
middle.
want the middle ones.
Yeah.
With the adjustments. Yeah.
Yeah. It's an amazing piece of technology. It really is. And the way it all works together is very impressive.
Well, that was what was good about SF90. The most impressive thing about SF90 was that Ferrari is not the company I would expect to integrate a hybrid system so seamlessly. I would expect it from Porsche. I'd expect it from Toyota. I'd expect it from somebody with a little more experience doing those types of systems. But when in the SF90, even though I found the overall experience to be forgettable considering how expensive the car was. I was impressed at the transition from electric to gas and the way that the hybrid did kind of disappear into the background. You couldn't get rid of the weight, but it did sort of blend in a nice way.
Yeah, it's fairly seamless.
Yeah.
And like, it's funny because they still don't have Wi-Fi CarPlay. They're talking to me, they're like, it's a licensing thing. It's not a hardware software thing. It's like making that deal go through. It has CarPlay if you plug it in.
I'm sure it's Apple holding it up too. Right?
but look, I mean, like, to their
They were
credit,
going to make the deal, and then they went for an espresso, and then there was a Friday, you see, at the 2 o'clock, and they said, well, we'll talk about it on Monday. And then it was a Monday.
And they're like, well,
and
the car's pulling out.
Monday we had a bottle of red wine, and on the red wine, and then we said, we'll talk about it on Tuesday. And before you know it, it's 2027, and we still don't have CarPlay.
and we're bringing out the next model. Yeah, it has CarPlay, but not wireless CarPlay. But you know, they get the hybrid shit right. So it's kind of like they put the time into the powertrain, and then they had the espresso, and they took a break. And then it's like, all right, the Wi-Fi app CarPlay doesn't work, but who cares?
Welcome to fucking Ferrari. I mean, Ferraris have had garbage radios for as long as I've ever driven them. I mean, in the early 2000s and mid 2000s, they were using the biggest trash Blaupunkt junk, and then Blaupunkt makes some okay stuff, but they were using the worst ones.
Wow.
for all through the 2000s, the most easily brickable radio. You disconnect that battery and don't have that 4-digit code, you got a brick. And it was the worst. And
I don't know who made this stereo. It sounded fine. It wasn't anything.
It probably
amazing.
sounds fine. But did you see the window sticker? Did you see a Monroney for the car you drove?
No.
I wonder if they're still charging $4,000 for CarPlay. Because on the 488, the 488 I drove, CarPlay was like $4,800. It was. I mean, it was like. It was truly an insulting number. It wasn't even like they're charging for this and it's free on a fucking Elantra. Like it's not just charging. Like they're charging so much money. Do you have a window sticker?
No, I mean wheelsjoint.com says it's an optional feature for $4,000.
So ridiculous.
Pricing and sheets.
That's for the 296?
Yeah, this is someone for 296. FerrariChat.com. Let's see if I can even look at this.
Yeah. I mean, it was on the 488 and the F8, so there's not, if they haven't, I wouldn't be surprised if it's still $4,000.
I'm not sure on having CarPlay. I think it's like, look, they know that you're going to add it. I mean, this person in Ferrari Chat is saying, if you don't have CarPlay, it's probably going to hurt the resale value more than it would cost to put it in.
Yeah, because the radio sucks.
Right. So it's funny, like, if you don't spend $4,000 now, you're going to have trouble selling the car, and you have to take $10,000 off of it later. I mean, that's
That's funny.
Oh, wait. But they responded, CarPlay is now standard in Ferrari's pricing reflects this.
Okay. And the pricing reflects this.
Funny.
They don't make it an option anymore. They just raise the base price 4 Gs.
Possibly.
That rules.
But to be fair, a lot of car companies do that where the new one comes out and it's like, it now comes with da-da-da. It is $2,500 more than the last one.
Yeah. That's not a uniquely Ferrari thing.
I just wanted to point that out.
It is funny, though.
It is funny. But man, I don't know. It'd be really fun to drive one of these, like when we get the GTB for the Canyons, or a future track day for a shoot or something. Like, it's very impressive because they did a bunch. They lightened this and they improved the braking a little bit and they shrunk the turbos and they're more efficient. So like everything got hot rodded, and it all kind of just results in fucking fast car.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I drove my Ferrari a little bit because I got it back from Donnie's. I want to put some miles on it. The car is faster. The last thing he did when he replaced all the old vacuum hoses I don't know why. I don't know the science behind it. But replacing the old vacuum hoses with new ones, the car's faster. Like the throttle response is better, the engine spins up quicker, and it feels like it's 25 or 30 horsepower faster.
That kind of makes sense, yeah.
That's fucking awesome. And I was ripping it and had a great time, and then got stuck in traffic, and the fans wouldn't come on.
The fans?
The fans in the radiator in the front didn't turn on.
Did it get too overheat?
It didn't overheat to where it like boiled over. I didn't post about it. It didn't overheat to where it boiled over, but I was like, Donnie.
But you could make focaccia in there.
What the fuck? And he was like, motherfucker. He's like, after all the work I just put in this goddamn car, like, I'm sending a flatbed. That's it. And he sent a flatbed. And he's like, he texts me, an hour and a half later. Car just arrived. Looked great. 10 minutes after that, he goes, it's fixed. And I go, what was it? He said, well, the wires that hold the temp sensor on the fan, like, were just like loose. And like one fell off.
Oh man!
And like it was the kind of thing where like I probably could have fixed it myself with him over FaceTime, but like he was just like, fuck it, just send it up here and I'll fucking and so he brought it back to my house yesterday, and so now we're good to go, and I'm gonna drive. We'll make a video of it when I get back from my trip next week, and then I'm gonna drive it to Phoenix. For the Auto Car Club Bagels and Bullshit on the 29th.
What is vacuum controlled in the engine? Like, is it like
probably a bunch?
Everything, fuel pull and air and
I'll have to ask Donnie, but like probably a bunch. There's a lot of vacuum lines. I don't know what they all do.
No, yeah, I don't either. I'm curious. Like, it'd be cool to ask him what was perforated and therefore like losing air or gaining too much air, and like how did fixing that improve the throttle
response? Even he seemed surprised. like he drove it and he was like, I don't know what I did, but this car is way faster. And when I drove it, within 2 seconds, I was like, "Oh, you're right. This car is definitely faster."
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that's cool. So I'm into that. So, and now he's tearing up the Lambo.
Oh yeah.
He said, overall, not that bad. We're gonna have to go up there maybe on the day when we film the project car and the Ferrari. Maybe we'll go up there and also film something with him if we have like the whole day. Is that who is here?
No.
Okay. And so everything that we did with the Ferrari, really, we're going to do with the Lambo. I mean, it's a 34-year-old car. It's had maintenance. It's not like it was like neglected or like fucked with like the Ferrari was. But we need to do all new suspension. We need to do new brakes. The brakes are basically original. We need to do. Keep going. There's a great the car's got a pretty flat under tray.
Yeah, it does.
We're doing shocks. We're doing the bushing. So the car's got
the wide lens you use makes it look like it has toe out in the front and toe in the rear.
Yeah. It's got a few like oil not like leaks, but like seepage. So we're taking the engine out and resealing the whole engine, decarbonizing the engine. And the big one is we're converting it to Euro. So basically, it has a bunch of power-sapping smog shit in it.
It's got a bunch of old pounds sterling in there.
Just so many extra like hoses, and like go to the photo at the top of the engine, the first. So you can see in that shot, that is this plastic material inside the Heim joint that's like crystallized.
Oh.
So it's the whole suspension is Heim joints. It's like really like race car shit of the period. But there are these plastic bits in there that make the Heim joints like less noisy for the street. And they need to be replaced, I mean, eventually. And I'm pretty sure these never have. I'm pretty sure they're original. So all new suspension, just like the Ferrari. And then he's going to compression check the engine. The engine feels like it's making a little less power than it should. And so, if it's supposed to be 425 horsepower, the carbed ones were 440.
Okay.
The injected was 425. But so you see that in the middle, it looks almost like just to the right, it looks almost like a power steering pump.
Oh, yeah.
Right there. So that is a smog pump. It pumps air into the exhaust to deal with smog. And so there's a bunch of weird almost all of those rubber hoses at the bottom left of the picture are there to deal with the smog shit.
Right.
So there's just these extra fucking vacuum hoses and air lines to deal with that. Since I'm a car dealer and I never have to get this car smogged ever again, we're just taking all that crap out. And it doesn't really do fucking anything anyway. And there's also, to convert it, because only the US cars had the smog pump, there's also some like other shit in the car in the engine bay that had to be moved out of the way for that stuff. So there's like things that are like on brackets to move the stuff out of the way for this. So you kind of like undo that to convert it to a Euro spec car.
Okay, so it'll get a little lighter.
Yeah, we'll lose.
Power.
Yeah, it'll lose like 25 or 30 pounds, but it'll also lose a bunch of shit that was just sucking fucking the end, because the engine has to turn that pump.
Yeah,
it's like another thing, just like dragging on the engine.
Of course.
So you lose that. So this photo is of where a radiator used to sit. So we took the radiators out, and the radiators are shot. They need to be replaced.
Oh wow.
And so I was like, Donnie, where the fuck do we find a radiator?
Oh, he knows.
Well, his answer was interesting. You make them.
Oh, wasn't expecting that.
You take apart the radiators, and you use the frame of the existing radiator. You have that fresh powder coated or whatever.
Right.
And then they make a new core.
Oh, cool.
And the new cores are obviously more efficient, than the old cores.
Right.
And so you get a radiator that's like 15 or 20% more efficient for the same size.
Oh, that's awesome.
As the old.
And then
ones.
you don't have to go digging through
Those are the old
barns in
radiators.
Italy to find one.
Yeah, those are the old radiators. They're small. They're not very big.
Yeah, that
and
makes sense.
there's two of them, and there's one per each side. But you can see in the next photo, there's some sort of corrosion. They're just fucking gunked up and corroded.
Yeah, that looks like Elmer's glue.
Yeah, it's not good.
Okay, interesting.
And this is a 34-year-old Italian car.
Yeah.
But I've also put a bunch of miles on it. And this is just the shit that needs doing. You want this car to be fucking tip top.
Yeah.
And who's to say I couldn't keep driving? I could probably keep driving on that for a while.
Probably.
It wasn't like exploded.
But while you're in there.
But while we're in there, fucking let's.
So what is all this?
Those are all my like coolant hoses and the old fans that we're gonna replace. And it's probably not gonna be cheap, and it's probably not gonna be quick, but this car's worth like twice what I paid for it. And if I want to keep driving it, which I do, it's fucking worth doing right.
Yeah, I mean, quick, cheap, reliable. You don't want to have any of those. Like, what is it? Pick one.
And it's not like I don't have a bunch of shit to drive. It's not like I need to be driving it. So
I mean, if it's better when it's back, which I think it will be.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And so there's a lot of Donnie said to me, he goes, "Why are there so many hoses to nowhere?" And I was like, "I don't know, Donnie. You fucking tell me. I have no idea why there's hoses to nowhere. I don't know what's going on."
We got in the car yesterday, leaving your house from dinner, and Sarah was like, "I thought Donnie works on Ferraris." And I'm like, "Yeah, he does." And she's like, "But Matt said his Lamborghini was up there." I was like, "Well, his Countach is up there." And she goes, "And that's a Lamborghini?" And I laughed so hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically the same. I think this is the first full rebuild Donnie's done on a Countach. He's worked on them before, but and he's worked on other Lamborghinis of the period, but this is the first like full rebuild he's done on one. And you need a full industrial hoist to get the engine out, because it comes out the top.
It's so heavy
with the gearbox attached to it. So it's a whole fucking to do.
He has that thing though.
Yeah.
Because it's an iron block, right?
I think so.
That's a heavy engine.
It's heavy as fuck. Yeah. I mean, it's like most of the rest of the car doesn't weigh shit.
Yeah.
The rest of the car is just fucking beat panels over a
wheels
tube
and some
frame.
springs.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
I mean, the car weighs 3,200 pounds. It's not very heavy.
I bet that's over 1,000. The engine plus trans.
Probably.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's probably 1,000 pounds.
I bet over 1,000.
Yeah. I wonder if if he can weigh that. I wonder if he's got a scale.
My Pontiac engine was like 700. And it was without the trans. And you have 12 cylinders.
It's gonna be real serious, and it's probably gonna take 6 months. I mean, I'd be shocked if he got it done in less than 6 months, because he also has to send stuff out. It's not just him. It's like vendors,
right?
Like
radiator core and things.
He doesn't personally fucking build the radiator. He has a radiator guy who builds the radiators. And he's probably going to have to take all the fucking fuel lines back to JPL to get palladium coated or
That'd
whatever
be so
the
cool.
fuck that was.
It'll look rad.
It'll look amazing when it's done. Yeah, it's going to be really cool. I was like, Donnie, you just make sure my fucking air conditioning works when I come back. No, you don't give a shit about that kind of stuff, but I'm going to die in there if you don't.
It was working before, right?
Yeah,
all right.
Perfectly fine. Yeah.
Make sure it continues to work.
The update on the loud exhaust tickets. We talked in a previous show about a Hyundai owner who got ticketed for using track mode on the street with a stock exhaust. He was sent to the ref. When we last checked in a week and a half ago, it was, quote, Hyundai was going to help the guy out somehow. According to the guy, they really didn't. They haven't done anything. And he's going to try and sell his car.
Yeah.
And a couple of things happened. One, the cop who ticketed him for this was a massive bag of shit. Way overreached his authority and power in doing this and wrote a bullshit ticket. This guy then got sent to the ref, which in California is where you are sent if the cop or someone suspects that you've illegally modified your car, and you're forced to correct it, and the ref has to sign off on your correction. The ref then performed the sound test incorrectly, whether negligently, ignorantly, or intentionally, tested the car in track mode, which is the wrong way to test the car. You have to test the car in normal mode.
I've gotten two different people. One said, the ref's supposed to test it in the default mode the car starts in.
Yeah.
And someone else said that the car needs to be California compliant in all modes. Like any mode that is allowed to be driven on the street has to be compliant with California noise law. But it seems like
the standard
people don't understand.
The standard that was linked in this article.
Okay.
Which is
on the drive.com.
SAE, where's that? Keep going down. Where's the SAE standard? Keep going.
Cannot start in mode.
Oh, it might have been the previous article. I think this is article number 3. There, SAE J1492.
Oh, just there. Yeah. So this
any mode that can remain enabled through a power cycle can be used for the test. Track mode cannot.
Right.
So you can't test it in track mode. According to this standard, they did. He didn't know at the time to fight with them about it or whatever. Blah, blah, blah. So now, and they won't help. Hyundai apparently is not helping him out. He's going to sell this car. That sucks. This guy got screwed. A couple people have emailed me saying similar things happened to them. Not that they got sent to the ref because they were in other states, but one guy said there was he had a buddy with a 488 Ferrari and was ticketed for a loud exhaust, and it was stock, and they're fighting that ticket right now in court. Their court date hasn't come up yet. Another guy said he had a Hyundai and got ticketed for loud exhaust and a Kona N, and fought and went to court, and the prosecutor said it was absolutely ridiculous and threw it out immediately.
Wow.
So basically, this was an egregious case because this guy got sent to the ref, and then the ref fucked up. Either intentionally or ignorantly fucked up. But bottom line is, if you get ticketed for a loud exhaust with a stock car, fight the fucking ticket.
Right.
Because it has to be thrown out. The car is stock. Like, it's not on you to make that car not loud.
Right. That's the manufacturer's job.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be in compliance with all of these laws. That's why they have a team to do that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Speaking of things that are compliant in California, our project BMW. We picked it up from Avis Autosport in Glendale, who did the mechanical work for us. Of course, we are doing a giveaway. What is the best Canyon car for $30,000 bucks? And our suggestion is a modified BMW 135i, lightly modified, tastefully modified. And so we bought a clean stick shift, pretty nice shape. BMW 135, and we took it first to Avis Autosport in Glendale, who are BMW specialists, to have it fully proactively serviced. We gave them the instruction of anything you find that's not right, good to go for the next, 5 digits worth of mileage, fix. Plus, we got coilovers, ST coilovers. We got sway bars from Cobb. We got the access port with a 50-state carb legal stage 1 plus tune from Cobb. We got a green filter, air filter. That's like a reusable, cleanable, environmentally friendly air filter.
We got Motul fluids for oil, diff, and trans.
Yep. We got brand new OEM M Sport brakes. There was not a need to do a big brake kit on this car, so we got just brand new pads and hats and fluid. And
we got really high temp fluid.
Yeah,
like the tech was like, oh, this is
it's dot
good shit.
Dot 5. It's good track. The brakes and the rest of the car will be up to doing a track day for sure. We got HRE wheels, really lightweight forged wheels. It's a brand new model of wheel that no one's seen before unless you saw my post on Instagram. It's called the 520M monoblock forged wheel. Very nice wheel in silver with some Michelin Pilot Sport AS4 tires, courtesy of West Coast Tire, our friends here in Los Angeles, who are great with tires and wheels and alignments and stuff like that. And so basically, we just got the car back. We haven't put the wheels and tires on yet. And also, right now, the car is at the body shop, South Coast Certified Collision.
Yep.
South Bay
Certified Collision Repair Center.
One day I'm going to get this right.
It's a long name.
South Bay Certified Collision and Repair Center, where they're going to be making the car look cosmetically very nice. They're gonna. It's never been hit, but it's like the bumpers are used car bumpers.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of peel and clear coat. They're going to fix that up. They're going to make it nicey nice. So the winner will take home a ready to drive, ready to canyon, ready to track, high performance, really nice, daily drivable BMW 135i. I drove it. We picked it up from the shop, and then Zack just drove it today with the mechanical updates done. What did you think?
It just feels tight as a drum, and not in a way where it's like bouncing around the highway and too stiff. Like it feels really nice OEM plus, and it didn't really have squeaks in it before, but like any bit of old bushing compliance that was there is gone, and now it's just like ride comfort, like corners nice and flat.
Yeah.
I mean, I drove it like on a roundabout and then the highway, but it just feels. It feels actually like how I would want modern M cars to feel in comfort mode. That's how I would describe it.
Yeah,
not too stiff.
It's still got the old wheels and tires on it, and the winner can take those home if they want. But it's not. It's 10 millimeter lower than stock. So it's not like slammed, but it does have a nice stance to it. It doesn't bottom out or anything like that. I think.
Yeah, I went out of steep driveway, totally fine.
Yeah, the ride is really nice.
It's really good.
The ride is excellent. They did these transmission bushings, which make the shifter feel a little more crisp. It does transmit a little bit more vibration, like through the shifter.
You know what? I only really noticed it on slowing down in third gear with engine braking. Like on highway or on throttle, I didn't hear anything extra in the cabin.
But it's not louder. It's just in the shifter, there's a little more, that directness comes with just a little firmer bit of vibration. The new brakes feel nice. The power, the power is excellent. The old valve cover was sweating just a little bit of oil. That's totally cleaned up. There's no more drips or oil leaks or anything like that.
Yep.
And a lot of stuff about the car was nice. I mean, the previous owner clearly took pretty good care of it. So a lot of the car's like major known maintenance issues had already been done. So we fortunately didn't have to do a bunch of that stuff.
Yeah, they found only some small things that they were like, oh, we should take care of this because we already have this shit apart.
Yeah.
But the tech was like, this is a nice car. Like this is a well-sorted car, just the way we got it, which is good to hear.
Yeah, it's nice. And I liked how it drove, man. I would get in that car and drive across the country today. I mean, the seats are comfortable, the visibility is great.
Yeah.
It makes great power. It's really, really fast. We don't even have to, other than a tune, it's not like we put exhaust or did anything to it. I mean,
there's no downpipe or whatever.
No, just a stage 1 91 octane tune, and it fucking rips.
Didn't it would have gained 50 horsepower or something like that?
Something like that, yeah. We should probably look up the chart, but I don't remember exactly. But it's something like that. It's a significant bump for just a flash. So I'm happy with it, and the guys down at the body shop, South Bay Certified Collision Repair, I got it right. They're gonna touch up the front bumper, or it's actually a full respray on the front bumper, right?
And rear, yep.
And the full respray on the bumpers. They're going to blend that with the rest of the body. They're going to fix the rear brake light, which is like a little bit brittle and probably would crack without being repaired. And then we're going to put these new wheels and tires on it, give it like a really nice detail here at Westside Collector Car Storage. And we'll take it up to the canyons and see how it is before the giveaway ends on November 16th. So to enter, you can just go to go.getenteredtowin.com/TST or hit the link in our Instagram bio, and that's right there. That's a 335i. Is that the same?
Same engine, N54.
Okay.
And this is what that popped up on Google quickly.
That's just the stage 1 tune. Totally stock vehicle. So you go from...
This is wheel horsepower.
Wheel horsepower. Yeah. Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wheel horsepower, stage 1 tune, that is a 90, and 93 octane. So we have to use 91 here, but they say to go on 93. It goes from 240 at the wheels to 313. So 73 wheel horsepower and then 105 pound-feet of torque.
Yeah.
That's off just the tune. So
yeah, that's awesome.
That's excellent. And so I think I don't know if that's the exact numbers you get on the 135. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it says every 135i. Yeah, okay. So that's it.
The gains talking about are on your N54 powered BMW.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and so it only requires the access port.
Yeah, 73 extra horsepower and 105 extra pound-feet.
That's significant.
Without making any extra noise, without wrecking your fuel economy. And it'll be a little less peak power if you stay in 91 in California, but the gains are the same starting and ending on 91 versus starting and ending on 93.
That's a stout gain. That's pretty cool.
Pretty sweet.
Pretty
I'm
good.
into that. Last thing, new video. I put it up late today. I'm sorry, but I had a fucking busy night last night and a busy day today, so I didn't get it up until 2 p.m. Pacific. But it's up now, my Alpina B8 review from Germany. Go check it out. Oh, boy. Just playing ads through the TV there, Zach.
Trying to show your
horsepower,
video.
all-wheel drive. I say in the video description, it is the connoisseur's choice. It is not an M car. It is not trying to be motorsport theater. It is designed for someone who wants to do high speed, lots of miles. If you're doing 30,000 miles a year and you're driving across some very high speed sections in Germany or in fucking Nevada or wherever else you are, and you want to cover a lot of ground very, very quickly, the Alpina is certainly your choice. Very comfortable, subtle styling. You kind of have to look for what's different unless you can see the immediately recognizable 21-spoke wheels.
Do they and they make it a little softer than stock for like that?
It's not softer than like a regular 650 or 850. It's definitely softer than an M car.
Got it.
Yeah, it's not as stiff as an M car.
So it splits the difference between the regular and the M's.
it's probably like yes, probably. And in comfort mode, it's like totally luxurious. In comfort mode, it's as comfortable as as any sports sedan could possibly be expected to be.
Do you have, I'm gonna find a photo.
Yeah, you have to go kind of far, a couple weeks back on the gram, but it is there. If you go back to my Germany trip, there are certainly photos of it. A little further back, there it is, left side. It was great in this green color with those Alpina stripes.
Was it stripes gold?
The stripes were gold.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was cool, and they can do those graphics on any of their cars now. I think they would look weird on the SUVs. I might skip it on the SUVs.
Yeah.
On the sedans, I was really, really into this car. It was a great place to spend time, and there's a lot more to it than I originally thought. They make their own turbos. They make their own intercoolers. They're modifying engine blocks. They're making their own brakes. They're making their own suspensions. I mean, they really are doing a lot of things at Alpina.
Well,
more
are they
so
considered?
than I thought they were doing.
Like I know we spoke before, they don't get bodies in white, but do they? They're listed though as like a manufacturer, right?
On the VIN plate, it says BMW Alpina B8.
Okay.
So it's part of the VIN. It's not listed.
It doesn't say Alpina B8.
No,
right.
It doesn't say Alpina. BMW is there, and it still has BMW and Alpina badges on it. It has both.
Got it.
Yeah. But very, very cool car. Go check out the video. It's up on the YouTubes right now. Do we have some things from the people?
We do have some things. Let me pull the thing up.
Of course, if you want to talk to us via the program, patreon.com/The Smoking Tire Podcast is how you do it. And you can get plans starting at just $3 a month, get access to the live show, ask us questions. A little more expensive, you get an ad-free listening experience. A little more expensive than that, get the show the same day and get an extra show at the once a month, 9th show.
A story I forgot I wanted to talk about. Did you see this?
Oh, yeah.
CEO of Nikola was found guilty of fraud over statements he made while CEO of the company. Nikola is going to be paying out $125 million to the SEC. That's their fine.
Nice.
I don't know how much.
Do they have $125 million?
That's a really good question, because normally when the SEC finds someone, it's an adorable amount of money compared to what they made on said fraud.
Right.
But in this case, I actually don't know if the company has had to shutter because of all this shit.
Is the company still? I thought they were already done.
I don't know.
Still in operation?
Let me.
I mean, what's really amazing is that this guy is being so investigated and found guilty, and yet the other half of Nikola Tesla's name just continues to perpetuate a fraud. And it's like nothing going on there, nothing to see at all.
Here's a funny thing. So a story that was published July 15th of 2021 on NikolaMotor.com, press release. Nikola adds 51 dealerships in 9 states. Ooh, things, and this is after he was charged, so things are looking up. Electrek in February of 2022, Nikola loses its whole supply chain leadership, puts hiring freeze as the situation looks dire. So things have changed.
So yeah, it's not so good over there.
It's not doing so well. So I don't know if they'll be able to pay that fine. And I was not able to find out if he's getting sentenced to jail, if he's getting fined personally. You know, basically they said like he made inflammatory statements to pump the stock price, which is, you know, including, of course, rolling a truck downhill.
And yet, no one else has made inflammatory statements to pump their stock price and made claims that are not remotely true.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
How about that?
I think it's...
That robo-taxi's right around the corner, though. It's right around the corner. If you don't buy one, it's like buying a horse in 1995. It's just...
Well, the problem that this guy did is he didn't have any other distractions from the bull. He was just like, we have this semi-truck, and they went, there's no engine in that. And he was like, fuck. And he couldn't go, look at the birdie. He had no birdies.
Tesla said that they're delivering semi-trucks in December to Pepsi.
I saw that, which is
not going to happen. Mark my words. Stamp it. Not happening. Where is their semi-truck factory? Where's their production line? Does it exist? Do they have...
Well, you'll probably like this story I just found.
Tesla semi-truck prototype breaks down just 6 weeks before deliveries start. I think the second half of that title is actually less accurate than the first half. First half, Tesla prototype breaks down. Well, there it is on the side of the road with a tow truck and a Ford service van behind it.
I think all the Tesla service vehicles are like
Fords.
Gas-powered vans.
Yeah, they are. Maybe they should start making their own electric service vans before they try and do.
No, they could buy them from Rivian. That'd be fun.
I haven't watched it yet, but it's on my list. Apparently, Jason Fensky made a truth or bullshit video about the semi truck. Did you watch it?
Not yet.
I need to watch it. Yeah. It's on Engineering Explained, and apparently has done very well for the lad.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Right. To the Patreon.
Future guy.
Okay. Adam says, awesome show with Selika. Quick question. Suggestion for kitchen knives and pots and pans. Kitchen knives, I get my knives from New West Knife Works. And those are the ones with the cool rainbow handles. They're awesome.
They are.
I like them very much. And my pots and pans are from Le Creuset because I'm a snob. They are. I
know they are.
Creuset.
You cook a lot.
Not because I'm a snob, because I got married and they were on the registry, and so everyone got me Dutch ovens and pots and pans and all kinds of good stuff to stock my kitchen. Everyone liked the show with Selika. Randy said, I was shocked you talked so much about the problems with mobility in America, but never mentioned Robert Moses, the guy directly responsible for so many of those problems. We did allude to Robert Moses when we talked about the issues with the low bridges in New York and the highway system in New York. We did not mention him by name. You are right. We did not mention him by name. But that area is the problem of segregation by design is much bigger than Robert Moses. And I think it's almost, I've read about him, I know who he is, and there's bridges and parkways named after this asshole in New York still. But, and he not single-handedly, but we talked about it being an intentional political decision of which Robert Moses was a major part. But to say that all of it was Robert Moses' fault, well, he's dead, and this is still ongoing, I think, is we didn't intentionally omit his name, but now that we talk about his name, I think let's talk about it in a bigger issue than tying it to one guy who's not here anymore. You know, it's easy to be, it was his fault. Well, he's dead now, so we've moved on. But it's
right.
Ongoing.
Systemic, that's why the term exists. It's part of the system, and who are the influences on the individual people.
Correct. Rich B, daily winter car suggestions. I have an NA Miata and a camper van. My commute is 40 miles in Hudson Valley, New York. I'm not looking for an SUV, and it needs to be manual. Manual always reduces your choices. Used 15 to 20K, and I work in a school, so if there's a lot of snow, we're closed. Subaru Crosstrek or Impreza is on the list, but they don't seem fun. Front-wheel drive with winter tires is an option. Fiesta ST. You know,
it's the funnest
Fiesta
front-wheel drive
ST
there is.
or a GTI.
Yep.
Those are or Focus ST.
Yeah, if you need more space, you can do Focus ST. Mazda Speed 3. If you wanted to
get a WRX
steer
for $15,000 to $20,000 too.
Yeah.
If you know, they're more fun than
a Crosstrek. They have way more power. Crosstrek's down on power, basically.
All-wheel drive all-wheel drive manuals, you're limited. There's not a lot to choose from, and so your options are everything that exists.
I would go Fiesta ST because then in the summertime, you'll probably find yourself enjoying it a lot as well.
Yeah. And
then you have a car you can use all the time.
A Fiesta ST with a set of winter wheels and tires and a set of summers, and you'll be good to go. Adam Dolan also really liked Selika. Jake Shores, since Matt joined Spike on his podcast, plans on having those guys on here. They've been on this show before. They've been on the show a bunch of times. Jerry, probably not. I don't ask anything of my famous friends. That's why I have famous friends. If you have famous friends, never ask them to do anything. Don't ask them for a fucking photo. That's how you keep famous friends. Although I did send a little walk-around video of my kitchen to Guy Fieri and asked what he thought. And he said, wow, 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 great job, and your floors are awesome.
Yeah,
so
well, he helped you design it.
Yes,
so.
Guy said, you gave me these tips, and I took the tips.
And here's how it turned out.
I did with them.
Yeah.
Brian Lewis says, do you think 3 Formula One races in the U.S. is too much? I think it's fine since we have a big country, and I don't think a lot of the European fans realize just how big the U.S. is. I mean, I'm with you, Brian. I mean, the U.S. is the size of, like, most of Europe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, I'm not trying to be a dick, but, like, it is.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you have one on the east, one in the middle, and one in the west, that's like having an Istanbul race, a Germany race, and a Spain race.
Yeah, it's like Nürburgring.
Yeah.
And or Red Bull Ring, whatever. I think as long as the racing surfaces are good and the racing is exciting, like that's what it's about.
Yeah, and also because of the giant bodies of water in between us and other places, like if the cars are already here and the race haulers are already here, okay, let's see if we can.
I would rather, pull one of the races out of one of the countries that has terrible human rights issues, and we're not great here. I realize that. I realize that, but
we're not.
There's some that are worse. So,
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, if we got to 5 races, that would be too many.
Yep. Jordan Klein says thanks for talking about the Audrain Concourse. He went. It was a couple weeks ago. We couldn't go because I was doing Performance Car of the Year. But apparently it was a great event despite the fact that it rained a lot.
Ooh.
That's the risk of having a show in Newport at the end of September. That shit can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. A solitary hero. My brother-in-law bought a metallic gold 74 Porsche Targa in 1984 from the original owner. Car now has 50,000 miles on it. And in June, he dusted it off and spent $49,000 in an engine-out restoration. The original paint, interior, and Fuchs wheels were not part of the restoration and in perfect condition. He's not interested in listing it for sale, but I asked if he would sell it to me. He said, make an offer. I've heard that an owner never recoups his restoration money in the final sale. So how much is a fair offer to the brother-in-law for the car? 74 Targa, restored, 50,000 miles. I mean,
well, the restoration has 0 miles on it. It's got 50 on the clock total. I think,
well,
right?
let's just pull up. Let's go to the Bring a Trailers. Let's workshop this one out real quick. And we can go to pull up Porsche 911. And then we'll go to the auction results and we'll filter by year. And we'll see what the results look like for those type of cars. My guess off the top of my head is the car's worth somewhere between 75 and 100 grand. That's my guess. So 911 Targa, go to auctions up at the top and then go to results. So let's go down. Keep going down.
Why isn't it?
There. Type in completed auctions. Type Porsche 911 Targa. I know this is great radio, guys, but we're trying to answer this question, and let's see what we get. And then go to filters on the top right there, and go to year. Let's go 72 to 75. Not 1,075, 1975. And let's see. Let's filter it out. Let's see what we got. So here we go. 73 Targa, 174 grand. 72, 70 here. 74. It's a Sportomatic. That's not a great one. 73 and a half. 911 Targa, 68. So low end, 60 to 70 grand. High end, way up at 140, 160 grand.
Looks like that's for the S's.
Oh, so that's for an S, and that's an early one. So
that's
74. Go up to 74. Let me see if 70, because 73 and 75 are different. Where was the changeover? Oh, the Sportomatic has the 74 there, has the later bumpers. So a 74 is more like a 75 than it is like a 73. Okay, so 73s are different. So 74, 32,000 for that Targa, 75 Targa, 40,000. Okay, so I think you're looking at $40,000 to $70,000. That's going to be your range.
I mean, some of these S's are pretty cheap.
Yeah. 31,000. I bet some of them have a million miles.
I'm going to pull these up.
I think 40 to 70 is the spread. This one's how many miles on it? 8,000. Oh, true mileage unknown. So we don't know the miles there.
Oh.
So that one has 69,000 miles and is silver.
Also TMU though.
Also TMU, yeah. So TMU is true mileage unknown. That's a tough one. I'm going to go 40 to 70, and if it's just been fully restored, high end 70, offer him 60, 65, and see if he goes for it.
Yeah, because here's another TMU with 15,000 miles, and it's
sold for 43.
43.
Yeah.
Wow.
74 is a low watermark year for these cars, huh?
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah, not high in demand. This one, if it really just had a $49,000 restoration, I would offer him 60 and see if he goes for it. Market could be as high as 70, 75 if it's really, really mint and it's a documented 50,000 mile car.
Because you don't want him to hang it over your head for the rest of your existence together and be like, you really underbid me on that one, man.
Yeah.
You owe me $10,000.
Gunnar Ray says, request for Matt. When doing the Q&A part of a show and a question posted by a patron has already been covered, would you read out the question regardless for the benefit of the viewer listener? No.
So if we're scrolling through, we go, oh, we've done it before. And they go, we've done what before?
Yeah, no, that's a waste of radio time. I'm sorry, Gunnar, but you're going to have to trust me that when I say we've covered that question in the show, that we really have.
It may be that, Gunnar, you already know the answer to that question. Now you don't know what the question is, but it means you already have the knowledge, and we don't need to tell you the question.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing a radio show here, and it's for the benefit of everybody, I think, and I think we don't need to repeat ourselves, and you're just going to have to take our word for it that if someone asks a question that gets covered, that it's been covered. Yeah. You got something else, or is that it?
No, that's it.
Okay, cool. That's our program, folks. I am going out of town tomorrow, going on the Road and Track Hudson Quattrocento, which is one of those luxury lifestyle road and track events. We've got Randy Lanier is coming.
What?
Yeah. He's going to do a Q&A with AJ Bame.
If he's driving a very large panel van, don't look inside it.
Yeah. He's going to be giving people ride-alongs at Lime Rock.
Holy shit.
Yeah. He's driving on the track.
Wow. What's he driving? Just whatever press cars are there?
I don't know.
That's
I'm
cool.
not sure what he's driving, but I'm driving a Jaguar F-Type R, the new one, which I'm kind of stoked for. I love the F-Type.
Yeah.
It's a fun car. And Mike Guy is going. Eddie Alterman is going. We've got 20 couples. I don't know if all the couples are necessarily romantically linked or if some are just friends, but 20 couples, 20 cars. The list of cars is great. I mean, it's a great spread. Everything from Ferrari 812s and 911 turbos down to Corvettes and Vipers, and there's even a couple of like GTIs and WRX STI type hot hatch type cars, and it's a really good spread. Someone's bringing a GR Corolla. It's going to be a great Hudson Valley experience, and we're staying at some very nice hotels, having some 5-star food, lapping Lime Rock, and we have other events coming up. If you go to experiences.roadandtrack.com, we're going to have one in the Smoky Mountains, the Tennessee Bourbon Trail, and the Tail of the Dragon. That's the next one coming up after this. And then, of course, the Route to Vine, the wine tasting event. Oh, so here's the itinerary. Starting in Cortland, New York, we're then going to go to Lime Rock Park. We're then doing a Hudson River Drive. We're staying at this amazing hotel called the Adelphi. Then we do another Smoky Appalachian drive. We're going to the Bethel Woods Center for the Arts and the Museum at Bethel Woods. We're staying at this place, Callicoon Hills, which is a beautiful hotel we stayed at on what do you call it, Peabody this year. And the roads up there are just spectacular. Beautiful, beautiful roads. The route is great. So go to experiences.roadandtrack.com. It's a little too late for this one because by the time you're listening to this, we'll already be on it. But the next one will be in Tennessee. It's not even listed yet, but trust me, it exists. And then Route to Vine in Northern California again later in the springtime. That's our show. Thank you to all our patrons for doing it up right, and we will see you all on the next one. Bye.